This is a Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, today with lead singer, guitarist, and founder of the heavy metal band Prong, as well as former member of Danzig and Ministry, Tommy Victor. Heavy metal and rock and roll is known for satanic imagery. Bands like Venom putting the pentagram on the front of their album cover and things like that. If you don't believe there's a Jesus Christ, do you believe there's a Satan?
I don't believe there's a Satan either. I mean, I don't. I mean, there's other. I think that everything is God, and like God doesn't judge whatever this God is or force is. I mean, obviously there's some really horrible things going in the world these days. I mean, it always has been this way. I mean, like I was reading about the 30-year war, and that was a crazy situation with that. I mean, so many people got killed in that. We just had some big wars. I mean, Nam wasn't that far away, and the atrocities of Vietnam were crazy. Which aren't taught in schools now. And now, as I was reading, I mean, like supposedly 46 million people today are living in slavery. And it's like, I'm like, really? I mean, whether sex slavery, working in mines, by drug cartels, etc. That's the estimation. That's a lot of people. Yeah. So, but for some reason, the creative force of the universe doesn't look badly upon that, or it just stays in this. It just keeps things going. So I don't believe that there's two sides of that. As far as satanic imagery, to me, all that stuff is just to sell records or put an image on yourself. I mean, it's used just in a very trivial way. I don't think that there's real Satanism. I mean, if you practice, I mean, I've read the Satanic Bible, and all that says is just like that's just fulfilling your egotistical needs, really. So I mean, if you really want to live that lifestyle of continually trying to make yourself feel better, then you're gonna the consequences on the other side of it are gonna be very bad. So I think that's the lesson that's taught with the Bible and all religions, is that you pay for everything. Everything is at a cost.
Yeah, you reap what you sow.
Yes, exactly. You're gonna pay for it. I mean, I know this in the music business. Like it's like you have some successes, you have failures. I mean, it's just I relate a lot to like baseball players. I mean, baseball players fail more. Good baseball players fail more than they succeed. I mean, you bat 1 for 3, you bat 333. And that's like a big average. So, failure is a lot to do with life. If you think you're going to go through life without failures and hard times, then you're just fooling yourself. I mean, there's no fairness, I mean, that doesn't exist. It's just trying to make yourself realize that and have the stamina to get through hard times is really, the main challenge of life.
Don't you feel that like the fact that you've gone through hard times in your life has helped you to have empathy for other people that are going through hard times?
I think compassion is a good thing, but it's also a dangerous thing. Self-pity is something that I don't respect. So, and I think that, unfortunately in today's society, via, the countless daytime shows where, people are afraid of words now, where like, that people hurt me because they said this, and then they create a whole drama about that. I don't have any compassion towards that.
But I don't think that's real suffering. Somebody that's wearing $1 million ring.
Society, yeah. People do think that's suffering now, and it's been highlighted through the media, and people are shedding tears over the most trivial things, in my opinion.
What is your secret to not becoming a casualty of sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
I think it's been burned out of me. I mean, you're under this fire and this heat all the time, and eventually you just get molded by those passions. Eventually just make you to what you were never be supposed to be. I mean, that's the sort of the story of life, where you get burned out a little bit, and you realize that it doesn't make you happy. I mean, inevitably And it's all those things are just for, I've been repeating myself considerably. I mean, it's all ego gratifying practices. So I want to feel better now, and it's like the cost of that is dramatic. And I just realized that it's like, I've learned my lessons in a lot of ways. And sometimes you need to feed your ego. Sometimes you got to do it. But everything is balanced. And sometimes being bored and being silent and pausing is a great thing in life. And I think sometimes you get more benefits out of like doing nothing, which is the title of one of the songs on my new record, Do Nothing. It's like sometimes you get more benefits out of that than getting these things that you want.
What was your original vision for Prong in 1986? And after 30 years, how has it lived up to your expectations?
Well, having original, like, juvenile thoughts about this thing, my whole, we wanted to have longevity, and we didn't realize the pain that comes along with that. But that really was it. I mean, we wanted to be different. We didn't want to do what everybody else did, egocentric, narcissistic behavior, and we were crazy, and I thought that I had the ability to do something different and to break some ground. Now I feel like I've done that in a lot of ways, and now it's almost, that's the legacy of it. So in other words, it's been a successful career in that way. I mean, we really didn't know exactly what we were doing, but where you find us with early young bands that are just compelled, and again, I'm gonna have some other crazy reference about it. It's like, in the Civil War, like where the South, like they were just compelled by some force in order to go out and make those sacrifices, and the North did too. I mean, like in war, people are compelled, and I always felt like this, being in a band is relative to again, like playing on a baseball team or being in the army in a lot of ways. Maybe not with the extreme consequences of death, but it's some of the same mentalities go into it. We just had this, we were possessed. And and then we had a lot of disappointments because of that. Those expecting things to go our way, which that's juvenile mentality will get beaten out of you eventually.
How do you feel about terrorism in the world today? Do you think there's hope for the future of this world?
Yeah, you know what? I have another dramatic view on this. Because I think that there's some sort of plan. There's a maturity plan for the human race that, and whatever that is. I mean, what the hell do I know? I'm just a guitar player, singer in a rock band. So I just think that if you study history a little bit, if you have some kind of education towards, really, what, the world is in a better place than it ever was. I mean, we had in World War II, for crying out loud. Just the unbelievable slaughter of people not that long ago. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not a crystal ball, but for some reason, I just think that there's something there's some light at the end of the tunnel, that there's a purification that's going on somehow, and I don't know what it is.
What about fear? Do you fear? Do you lose sleep over thinking that you can be blown to bits at any moment?
No, I don't. I mean, as far as terrorism, like, we had the San Bernardino here. I forget what the latest statistics on vehicular deaths was last year in America, but it's extraordinary. It's very high. So when you get in your car and drive on the freeway with drunk drivers and idiots running around, you're taking your life in your hands.
The Blairing Out Show.